Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right, welcome back. Hour number 3, it is the Vegas Take. Glad you could join us. Again, a reminder, tomorrow, Michael Avenatti, attorney, will be joining us, as well as longtime reporter, journalist, well-respected John Stossel will be joining us tomorrow as well. Talk to him a little bit about political divide in this country. Has he ever seen anything like it? Certainly not in my lifetime. I'm 39 years old. I cannot recall a time in my life where we were so divided politically, racial divide. To me, it's the worst it's ever been, and everybody wants to brag. I shouldn't say everybody, but a lot of Trump supporters want to brag about, the unemployment numbers are down and the economy's great. We are very divided as a country, and I do not believe we are in a good place right now, unless you are extremely wealthy. I don't think we're in a good place right now, and I hate to bring up this guy because I think he's trailer trash. That would be Kid Rock. Never liked his music, never liked him personally, says a lot of disrespectful things about a lot of people, so I guess it's not a shocker that he's friends with President Trump. He went off on a tangent, I guess you could call it a tirade, insulting Joy Behar from The View, Kathy Lee Gifford, and Oprah Winfrey. In fact, he said on stage, he had to be kicked off stage, he said on stage that he wanted Joy Behar and Oprah to give him fellatio sideways. That was one of the comments he made. A lot of the things he said we can't even say on the air, although the FCC won't like it very much. But I want to play you a small clip. This is Kid Rock, clearly drunk, on a drunken rant, talking about Oprah in Nashville. Here it is.
I'm not a bad guy. I'm just an honest guy that says, hey, I like Oprah Winfrey or Joy Behar. They can suck sideways. Oprah Winfrey.
Very classy, Kid Rock. Very, very classy. You are the definition of trailer trash, and I am embarrassed for you. And again, this is a guy who is a huge Trump supporter. He's a Republican, and he's made appearances on Fox News. I wonder if Fox News will have him on again. I mean, when should we be okay with this? Should anybody be okay with this? What would we say if a musician that happens to be maybe an African-American went on a stage and did the same thing to somebody who was white? Republicans would have a field day with that, and they would attack that person left and right, and they would want to boycott their records and everything.
I remember quite a few African-Americans attacking George Bush on a pretty consistent basis who were musicians and entertainers.
Okay, but saying you disagree with politics is one thing.
Bill Maher basically says the same thing Kid Rock says and a lot of comedians do. They say the same. These guys are entertainers, Brian.
Really?
You can't hold Kid Rock to a standard and not Bill Maher to a standard.
So give me an example.
Bill Maher, like for example, what he said about David Cook, how he died and how he was happy that he died. That was way worse than telling Oprah Winfrey and Joy Behar to give him fellatio sideways.
And that's not the only thing that Kid Rock said. And by the way, for the record,
these guys are all entertainers. They're saying what they say to entertain, and you can't have a double standard, Brian.
You can't
say Kid Rock is the worst person in the world who should never be allowed to go on a stage. But Bill Maher is funny because he's a comedian. Okay, Brian.
Well, first of all, you're misrepresenting my opinions because I said Bill Maher was wrong in doing that, and I thought he was over the line. So you're saying you can't have it both ways.
He says stuff like that all the time about. I mean, that's what comedians do.
No, he doesn't.
They say ridiculous things.
Kid Rock is not a comedian.
They say ridiculous things about.
Excuse me, Kid Rock is not a comedian.
He's an entertainer.
He's
Brian.
not a comedian.
He is an artist. He is a musician.
Yeah, exactly.
So artists, entertainers, and musicians can't say what Bill Maher said because they're not career comedians?
He said that he wanted Oprah Winfrey and Joy Behar to perform fellatio on him sideways.
Because Bill Maher is a career comedian, he is protected. He is immune to saying things about people. But an entertainer, a musician, or an artist can't say the same thing.
So what has Bill Maher said other than that statement, which I didn't agree with?
He literally makes a career saying things like that about politicians, Brian.
Like what?
And anyone he disagrees with.
He said that Melania should give him oral sideways. I've never heard him make a comment like that. What are you talking about?
He says things in that vein all the time.
No, he doesn't.
But it's okay.
I disagree.
Yes, he does, Brian.
I disagree with you. He made that statement about the gentleman who died, who was against climate control and all that sort. I thought it was inappropriate.
It was extremely inappropriate.
Although you can
he was celebrating someone's death.
And I thought that was inappropriate.
I think that's much worse than telling someone who you disagree with politically to suck you sideways.
Okay, well, you know what? This is the problem I have in general when people do something wrong. They do whataboutism. And now we're talking about Bill Maher. I do not agree with some of the things that, with everything that Bill Maher says. I agree with a lot of the things he says.
No, all I'm saying is if your reaction is this visceral and negative about what Kid Rock did, then you should have the exact same. You do the same thing with Trump supporters and how they perceive what Trump does compared to when someone else does
Why
something
can't they
wrong.
both be wrong?
You constantly
Why
do
can't they both be
whataboutism,
wrong?
Brian.
Why can't they both be wrong?
I guess they can be. But I think what Bill Maher did was much worse than what Kid Rock has done here.
I'm not going to play that game and say, well, what he did is worse than what he did. They were both wrong for their statements, but Kid Rock was drunk. He was in a drunken tirade, okay? And that's not an excuse. I don't think that's an excuse. I think what Kid Rock said is disgusting, and I think it's wrong. And this is the guy that Fox News has on, and Kid Rock has made many appearances on Fox News. And I don't think Kid Rock is an extremely intelligent person. I think he said a lot of dumb things. And he will continue to say a lot of dumb things because he's a drunken fool.
He's also an entertainer.
And I consider Bill Maher to be a far more intelligent individual.
Exactly.
Has Bill Maher,
since you believe that Bill Maher is more intelligent, you give him a pass. You give him a pass.
I did.
You give him a pass to celebrate the death of a multi-billionaire.
Are you not paying attention?
Who donated more to charities than Maher had ever made in his entire life.
You can still donate to charity and be a horrible human being, number one. And number two, are you not listening to what I'm saying? I said when we spoke about that issue with Bill Maher, I said he was wrong. I outed him out for doing that. I said he went over the line. It's possible for both to be wrong. Number to call, 702-257-5396 if you want to be a part of the show. No, I think Kid Rock was completely 100% wrong. 702-257-5396 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the program. Let's go to Ron. Ron, you're next.
What's up, Ron?
Brian, you have no right to put the First Lady in a position like you just spoke to your goddamn come out of your dirty mouth.
Okay, you're not going to swear.
If I was the president,
you have no right. You have no right, Ron. You have no right, Ron. You have no right. Let me tell you, have no right. You have no right. You have no right to.
Refreshing.
You have no right to call into a radio show. You don't have a right, Ron. You don't have a right. You should have taken your medication this morning. You don't have a right, Ron.
That was a perfect call, Ron. Perfect.
Did Ron hang up? Oh.
Where's your respect?
Oh, there he is. He's back again. The Looney Tune is back in. Ron, did you not?
Where's your respect
Ron,
for the president?
Ron,
if I was him, I would
where's your respect for this radio show? Pot him down again. Let's wait how long he'll hang on the line. Let's play a game here.
For apples.
Let's see Let's see how long Ron will wait on the line screaming and yelling. Now, there's somebody, JD, that's mentally ill. Here's a perfect example of somebody that is not mentally right. Would you agree, JD? This man is mentally ill. He's mentally ill.
I think Ron is a very, very passionate individual, but I don't think that he would, in front of a class of fifth graders, single out the one kid who just finally got a family and say that, oh, your family sucks because it's two guys.
First of all, Ron is probably still there, but
was mentally ill.
Ron is probably still there, but let me explain something. We were talking about Kid Rock, and I mentioned that Kid Rock had said that he wants Oprah Winfrey and Joy Behar to perform fellatio on him sideways. And then JD brought up Bill Maher, and I said, did Bill Maher ever say that he wanted Melania Trump to do the same thing? That was a question, Ron, so I know you're a little crazy. Do you not understand what I was bringing up there? I'll pod you back up if you can calm yourself, Ron, if you're still there. Ron, are you still there? Oh, okay. So you're going to swear again. Do you not understand, Ron, where I was going there? Can you calm down for 10 seconds in your life?
I do like your vernacular. I like your established vocabulary.
So, Ron, I'll give you one more chance. I mean, you sound very calm and very intelligent and very normal. I'll give you one more chance. So, again, we're talking about Kid Rock. He made some comments about Oprah Winfrey and Joy Behar performing fellatio on him. And JD brought up Bill Maher. And I said, well, wait a second. Has Bill Maher ever said something like that? Like, for example, for Melania Trump? It was a question because that's what Kid Rock did. Ron, do you not understand that? Do you not understand that question that I asked JD? Can you answer me in an appropriate and calm way? Would you like to have a conversation? Go ahead.
Why are you talking about the First Lady like that, pig?
I just told you, Ron. Can you calm down?
You're a pig.
Because I'm what?
A pig. You're accusing her of being down. Give me a break, man. She is
Ron,
no
are you on
motherfucker,
medication? Be honest.
And you've been sitting your
Ron,
ass
Ron,
back.
are you on medication? Be honest. Are you?
You should be
Are you
fighting.
Ron? Are you on medication? Holy smokes. Ron, I appreciate the phone call. You sound like a very normal human being. Thank you for calling in. I
Great
appreciate
call, Ron.
it. 25753.
Do you think he was screaming the entire time?
I think he was. That's we potted him down. The way it works is, we pod callers up and down, and if they're a little crazy,
if that's the case, he should be an opera singer.
perhaps, yeah, he's got a very strong, good radio voice.
Oh,
number to call 257-539. Number to call 257-5396. Again, the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation 702-257-5396. You understand why I brought up Melania Trump, hopefully. Do you understand why I brought her name up?
Yes.
Yes. Okay,
Whataboutism. Reverse whataboutism, Brian. That's what you did.
You're the one brought up Bill Maher, not me.
Absolutely. Because Kid Rock has two of his very most successful songs. He actually says you can S my D like 4 or 5 times. That's who Kid Rock is. He said it. I mean, he's been doing that for 20 years, Brian. So I'm not shocked that he said the same thing to Oprah and Joy Behar, who he definitely disagrees with politically. But I don't think it's as bad as Bill Maher literally saying, "Oh, thank God that David Cook is dead." I think that's way worse.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, we'll take a quick break.
All right.
When we come back, what do you make of this story? This is interesting, and it involves Colin Kaepernick and Thanksgiving. We talked a lot about Kaepernick and his workout a few weeks ago. Well, he's up to it again, making more appearances. This one will lead you to believe that he is not serious about getting back into the NFL. Not a shocker there. We'll talk about this when we come back. You're listening to The Vegas Take on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN. And welcome back. It is The Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. So glad you could join us. By the way, some interesting news involving the Donald Trump campaign. Apparently, their manager, Brad Parscale, says they will no longer be credentialing representatives of Bloomberg News for rallies or campaign events due to an open bias. Oh, boy, it's unbelievable. Continuing to probably abuse your position by attacking political opponents while possibly being impeached is maybe not the best way to go about this. It might not be the best decision, but Bloomberg News will no longer be allowed to cover Donald Trump rallies and any sort of campaign event. I really think this sets a really bad precedence. Yes, there are biased members of the media on both sides. We all know that. That's obvious. Any logical human being would tell you that. Fox News is way to the right. MSNBC is way to the left. And yes, you could also make the argument that CNN is to the left as well. But the fact that the Trump campaign is deciding to do this once again, they started to do it with CNN, with Jim Acosta. You remember that whole situation where they took Jim Acosta's press credential away. And then I said within a month they're going to give it back to him. And eventually they did, because Sarah Huckabee Sanders got offended up there when she decides to go. She went after reporters on a regular basis that she didn't agree with. It's called the open press. It is allowed to report the way you want to report. And you know what? I'll say this. I started off the show today talking a little bit about the Review Journal. I talked a little bit about Ed Graney, about how I disagreed with his ridiculous article he wrote about Tony Sanchez. He's biased, but he has a right to do that. We have a right to call him out for that. But I wouldn't say, would I ever say, take Ed Graney's credentials away? Absolutely not. I would never say that.
You really wouldn't say that?
Absolutely not.
Honestly?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay.
If his credentials were taken away, I'd laugh. But I mean, I wouldn't.
Didn't someone say that about you a couple of years ago?
What about taking my credentials away?
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea. If somebody did say that, they could go take a flying you-know-what.
I agree.
I could care less what their opinion is.
Totally agree.
But the point I'm trying to make is you shouldn't be allowed to take somebody's credentials away because you disagree with their opinions.
If someone told you that your credentials should be taken away because they disagreed with your opinions, would you tell them to suck you sideways?
No, I wouldn't stoop down to Kid Rock. I'm not trailer trash, so no,
Okay.
I would not do that. That's what Kid Rock would do. I wouldn't do that. It's not something that I would do. But what do you guys think about that? I'll open up the phone lines here because I'm curious what you guys think about this. If, for example, Bloomberg News, the Trump campaign obviously feels that Bloomberg News is biased and they're taking their credentials away, and no longer can Bloomberg News cover rallies or campaign events anymore. This was announced earlier today. How do you feel about that?
I mean, that's actually it's a really big deal.
702-257-5396 is the number to call. Again, if you want to be a part of this conversation, do you think that the president, or anybody for that matter, should take press credentials away for somebody, whether it's a sporting event or a political event? Do you think that should be allowed? Are you okay with that? That number again, 257-5396. I am very uncomfortable with it. I don't think it's right, no matter whether you have bias or not. Everybody in the media, to an extent, is going to have some bias. Yes, if you are a reporter, you shouldn't be biased and you should be reporting on the news. But if you are a talk show host, if you do one of those shows on CNN or Fox News after 5 p.m., everybody is biased. Everybody's going to have opinions, some of which you're not always going to agree with. But for the Trump campaign to be taking credentials away, they tried it with Jim Acosta with CNN, and that didn't go over very well. And now they're doing it again. Now they're doing it with Bloomberg News. And they are saying that representatives of the Bloomberg News are now not allowed to cover rallies or campaign events due to an open bias, which I think is completely and utterly ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's a bad deal because it hits Bloomberg, Michael Bloomberg, where it hurts. It hits him in his pockets.
Right.
How many clicks were they getting from those from the coverage, and how many writers, the beat writers, they had to put their opinions out there? And now those clicks are going. It's kind of like what we talked about with Michael Lindell. Now those sponsors and advertisers, it's going to, if they really cannot do this, it is going to affect Bloomberg News' bottom line. It's going to affect Michael Bloomberg's bottom line. And I almost wonder if he has some type of, and I'll ask Michael Avenatti this tomorrow, but I wonder if he has legal recourse here. I think he actually might.
Well, look, there are different levels to this. Obviously, if you break the law in an event and you're a journalist, if you are intentionally trying to disrupt an event, that's different. Well,
right.
Let's see what some of the callers think. 257-5396 is the number to call. Again, 702-257-5396. I believe our next caller is BC. BC, thanks for calling in. What do you think about this?
What's up, BC?
What's up, bro? I think Brian's a hypocrite because
I'm a hypocrite.
It's the same thing they did to Alex Jones, bro. What's different?
Here's what Alex Jones did that's very different.
No, what's different? What's different?
Would you like me to answer your question, or would you like to talk over me while I try to answer it? You tell me,
I'd like to do both, actually.
Okay, well, guess what? If you do both, then we will hang up on you. Would you like to stay on the line and have a conversation, or you want to be rude? Which one is it?
Out that way, go ahead.
Okay, well, thank you. That's very kind of you. Alex Jones did something, and he was sued for it. And what he did was he said that a catastrophic, horrible event that took place in Connecticut where many people died, kids lost their lives, they were shot and killed. He said that event didn't happen, and he caused pain and anguish to those families and parents. And because of that, he was sued, and he lost. Now, that is completely different than what we are talking about right now. Completely different. That
so
man.
What?
Now, had he not,
did you just say? Hold on.
Had he not lost the lawsuit, it would have been a problem.
Did you just say, so what? You're okay with somebody doing that?
Because all these agencies have been caught with, or
find me another agent. Find me another agency that you're the one who brought him up, not me, my friend.
Okay, I will.
Find me another agency that said that one of these horrible, catastrophic shootings didn't happen.
From getting into a ranch, bro. I'll tell you right now. Did you ever see the footage of the fake news footage of the Gulf War? CNN, MSNBC.
The fake news footage of the Gulf War.
And the guys are laughing on the sidelines.
What the hell are you talking about? You're comparing that to
stuff you
Alex
don't look up.
Jones?
I think he's talking about.
Operation Northwoods about a month ago. Did you ever do that? You don't even
the moon
research
landing,
anything, man.
I don't research anything, man. You just brought up
You don't.
Alex Jones, and you're trying to compare that to footage that
Because
CNN
listen,
showed
man,
20 years ago. No, you
Alex
listen, man.
Jones
No,
landed on
no,
the moon.
you listen. No, you listen, man. You have a low IQ. You have a low IQ, and the fact that you defend Alex Jones makes you a complete jackass. Bye-bye. The fact that you call in and you defend Alex Jones makes you a complete imbecile, BC.
Great call, BC. And it's different because
How was that a great call? What did he say that was great there?
Alex Jones.
What did he say that was great?
Chill out, Brian. Alex Jones.
How is that a great call?
When he goes on air and says that this thing didn't take place, and say you're a loyal Alex Jones listener, and he has a cult following. I mean, he's a syndicated host. And let's say you email or you reach out to one of these families, and their son actually did die, or their daughter actually did die, and you're telling them because Alex Jones says that he didn't, that this did not take place. I mean, that would be an emotional issue for a family member like that. So I understand why Alex Jones had his credentials taken away.
BC doesn't understand that.
Well, no,
BC was calling from a doomsday bunker. That's what it sounded like.
It's possible.
Yeah.
But
let's take one more quick call.
The thing with Bloomberg is a really big deal because it does affect his bottom line.
Let's take one more quick call. Let's go to Stuart. Stuart, thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
What's up, Stuart?
Hey, Chris Rock is totally wrong. That's all I got to say about him. But as far as taking
whoa, what do you mean? What do you mean, Chris Rock?
He meant
wrong?
to say Kid Rock.
Oh, Kid Rock. Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry. You're
That's
right.
okay.
I misspoke.
That's okay.
That's all right.
as far as taking the credentials away, yes, if the people in the press room do not behave like grown adults and mature people, and they monopolize the entire press conference,
They're not doing that.
Take the credentials away
And I agree with
for a
that.
period of time.
Okay, but Stuart,
that
didn't happen here. We're
No.
talking about Bloomberg News. They're saying the reason why their credentials were taken away because they don't like the coverage. They think they're biased. Stuart, I think that's wrong. I agree with you. If you were intentionally trying to ruin a press conference, you're right. But that's not what happened here, Stuart.
Here it's kind of like they're assuming that they might do that. And again, you still can't take it away. And it will. This will affect Michael Bloomberg's personal
Stuart,
bottom line.
I got 20 seconds, Stuart. Go ahead.
That's it. Well, I mean, I misunderstood that part of the question. I was just saying
That's okay.
if they don't behave, they got to go away.
Well, I don't disagree with you, Stuart.
That's true.
I think we agree on that. And I think, at times there are reporters that do that, Stuart. Make no mistake about it. But this guy calling in, bringing up Alex Jones into the equation, complete buffoonery. Comparing Alex Jones to Bloomberg News is ridiculous. Is Bloomberg News biased? Probably. Alex Jones bringing up these horrible shootings that took place and saying that it didn't happen. I mean, you want to talk about an idiotic take. Congratulations, BC. We got to take a break. When we come back, we are going to be talking about a football player in the NFL that's betting on games. Ooh, this is a big one. We'll take a break. Be back right after this. InfoWars himself. What a great analogy one of our callers made, trying to compare Bloomberg News to Alex Jones. What a joke. Anyway, welcome back to the program. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro. Glad you could be with us. Again, a reminder tomorrow on the show. John Stossel, longtime reporter, journalist, really respected among everyone, really, that I've spoken to, will be joining us on the show tomorrow. Also, attorney Michael Avenatti will be joining us in hour number 2 tomorrow. So plenty to get to tomorrow on the show. It's not often that an NFL player is accused of gambling on the NFL, on NFL games, but it has happened. Arizona Cardinals cornerback Josh Shaw is now suspended indefinitely through at least the 2020 season. The NFL claiming through an investigation that bet on NFL games on multiple occasions this season. The NFL made this announcement on Friday. The investigation into Shaw did not uncover evidence that indicated that he used inside information. That is a completely ridiculous statement. Let me explain why. The guy is in the NFL. He plays against all these teams. He sees all these teams. He knows the coaches. He knows his teammates. You're telling me that's not inside information? Is the NFL that complicit? Are you kidding me? Of course he used inside information. You think he's just blind? Why isn't he betting on, NBA or the NHL? No, he's betting on the NFL because he's an NFL player and he has something called inside information. Can you believe this, JD, that the NFL is claiming that, no, there's no evidence to indicate that he used any inside information or any games were compromised? How do they? That's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous statement. The guy's in the NFL. Of course he used inside information.
Well, all it takes is this guy, let's say he's playing a game and he's playing free safety, and a quarterback decides to go deep, and this guy just slows up a little bit and lets the receiver run right past him, score a touchdown, and put 7 points on the board. And I like the way this was handled. I think that you have to lay the hammer down. People are like, oh, well, how was Myles Garrett only suspended for 8 games for trying to kill Mason Rudolph with his helmet, which he did do. But
yeah, and then he claims that Rudolph used the N-word, which is a lie.
And then his teammate Ogunjobi, after the last game against the Steelers, just back that up. He said that, oh, yeah, after the game, by the way, Myles Garrett did tell me that Mason Rudolph called him this word.
Yeah, don't buy it at all.
But
complete nonsense.
I do like the way this was handled. You have to set precedent so that this does not happen again, because if it does happen again, the NFL is at risk. Because it
hasn't happened in a long time.
All it takes is a couple of players like this doing what Josh Shaw did.
I believe it is happening. He just got caught.
I
absolutely
really hope
happening.
it is not happening, Brian.
You're telling me that one of these guys not telling a brother, a sister, a son, a daughter, a wife, and they're not betting on these games. I'm sorry, I don't buy that at all. I bet you there are dozens and dozens of people that are using inside information betting, maybe more, maybe hundreds. I don't know. But the fact that they think this is just an isolated incident is ridiculous. And the fact that the NFL is saying that this guy never used inside information when he is an NFL player on an NFL team playing against other teams, betting on NFL games, you're telling me that's not inside information enough is a joke. By the way, this does not happen very often. Suspensions of NFL players for betting are extremely rare. The highest profile case dating back to 1963, before I was born, before we both were born. His name is Paul Hornung of the Green Bay Packers and Alex Karras of the Detroit Lions. They were both banned for the entire season, and both were reinstated at the end of the season. And actually, Hornung went on to make the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, Hornung was a very, very good player, and so was Karras, who actually went to the University of Iowa, my alma mater.
And by the way, the most recent case, Baltimore Colts quarterback Art Schlichter. He was suspended back in 1983 for betting on NFL games and other sporting events too, and he also was reinstated the following year. Now listen, Shaw signed a one-year contract worth $850,000. While that is a lot of money, when you take away the taxes, paying your agent, paying your bills on that, it's still a lot of money, but for living that type of lifestyle, I'm sure he was looking for an extra way to make a few bucks. The NFL is not going to give us the details. They're not going to tell us how he made the bets. Were they legal bets? Were they through a bookie? Of course, they're not going to say he had inside information, because if a story came out that he might have fixed a game or he might have had inside information and made a lot of money on a game and might have even moved the line, the NFL is not going to release that information. Why? Because it makes the NFL look bad.
Well, especially now with gambling being legalized in 19 states.
Yeah.
Before, you could isolate it to just Vegas and maybe an underground bookie, but now you've got actual casinos all over the country. You have thousands and thousands of casinos that are now taking action, not just in person, but also online. So the NFL has to, if this is an issue league-wide, it has to be taken care of immediately, or the NFL is at risk, legitimately at risk.
Speaking of football, and I think the NFL looks really bad with that investigation and the way everything came out. So Colin Kaepernick spoke at an un-Thanksgiving celebration criticizing the United States. What a shocker, right? What a shocker. He spoke at this People's Sunrise Ceremony, also known as the Un-Thanksgiving, on Alcatraz Island in San Francisco, celebrating the 50th anniversary of Native Americans occupying the famous island, which previously served as the site of course, that very famous federal prison. He said the U.S. government has stolen over 1.5 billion acres of land from people. Thank you to my family. I'm with you today and always. He said he spent the morning at the People's Sunrise Ceremony on the 50th year anniversary of the occupation of Alcatraz. The guy shows up at this event, an un-Thanksgiving celebration. He shows up in a workout. We all know the shirt that he wore. We all know the escapades that happened before and after that workout. Nobody, and I mean nobody, can convince me that Colin Kaepernick is serious about getting back into the NFL based on his behavior, based on his actions, based on the outfit that he wore, based on the fact that they changed venues in that workout. Now he's showing up at this un-Thanksgiving celebration. I'm sure the NFL just can't wait to get this guy back into the league. If the guy wanted back in the league and if he was serious about it, he wouldn't have worn that shirt. He wouldn't be going to events like this, and he'd be doing everything he could to get back in the league.
Or he would be at the XFL or a different arena league of some sort, or a lower level league, trying to prove himself that he still has it, that he can still play the game well. He's all he wants is attention. Everything is it's a publicity stunt.
To me,
for
he's
him
no better.
constantly.
He's no better than the
And
Kardashians
I hope
or Paris
he's not
Hilton.
getting paid for it, but actually he is getting paid for it. Really, Nike. For all we know, Nike is telling him to go to these events and just cause problems because they're paying him $20 million a year.
To me, he's no better than Paris Hilton or the Kardashians, only I would say he's worse because if you talk to the Kardashians, maybe off camera, they would probably admit that, they just act stupid and do these things and their show's all scripted and they're trying to make money. Kaepernick will never admit that.
But they're also not trying to sway people's political opinions.
Well,
and they're not trying to paint every single police officer like they are against African Americans or that they're pigs. I mean, Colin Kaepernick is literally trying. He's an agent of chaos. He is trying to cause problems constantly. The Kardashians are not trying to cause problems. They're making money because their lifestyle is so ridiculous, and that's fine. But
that's why I said
I would say Kaepernick is so much worse than the Kardashians.
Well, that's why I said. That's what I said. I think that he is worse than the Kardashians. The Kardashians will admit what they're doing, and Colin Kaepernick will say, he's talking about his oppressed people, and that's all fine and dandy, but his behavior and his actions speak louder than his words. And I think Colin Kaepernick is not an extremely intelligent person. I think his behavior proves that. And I think there are many people, many African Americans in the NFL that have done far more to try to solve the problems between minorities and law enforcement than Colin Kaepernick has, and he's profited plenty off the field. And I think at this point he has absolutely zero credibility. He also said it's been 50 years since this occupation, and that struggle has continued for that 50 years. It's our responsibility to honor our ancestors and honor our elders by carrying on that struggle. Don't let their sacrifices be in vain. That's why it's important for all of us to be here today to show that we are together and unified. Solidarity. So is Colin Kaepernick showing that we're unified and we have solidarity when he wears pig socks? Is Colin Kaepernick showing that we're unified when he wears a Fidel Castro shirt? Kunta Kinte shirt? Is that making people unified? Is he helping to bring people together? The answer is no.
He's doing the exact opposite.
The exact opposite. The exact opposite.
He is trying to isolate one group of people and put them against another group of people. He is literally trying to divide. Whatever he's saying, I mean, it's a total projection. He's not doing anything he's saying.
No. I mean, I'll say, I've said it before, I'll say it again.
And it's disgusting. And the fact that he's getting all the attention he gets to me, it's very, very embarrassing.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again, and I agree with you. He has zero credibility at this point, and anyone who thinks that he is a credible person at this point, you are sorely mistaken. If you believe in the, I guess you could say, people taking a stand and wanting to raise awareness and wanting to have, minorities treated better by law enforcement, I'm with you on that. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about Colin Kaepernick, his behavior a few weeks ago, his behavior since he left the NFL, and it speaks something completely different than the actual cause at hand. And there are many players in the NFL, current and former, that have done far more to help minorities and relationships between them and law enforcement than Colin Kaepernick. And I have zero, and I mean zero, respect for Colin Kaepernick, and it is all based on his behavior alone. Speaking of someone that I have zero respect for, O.J. Simpson back in the news. We'll explain why coming up next. We'll take a quick break, be back right after this. You're listening to The Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, K-Dawn. Oh, yeah, nothing better than Tucker Carlson to start us off in this last segment of the day. Welcome back. It is The Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro. Again, tomorrow, attorney Michael Avenatti will be joining us, as well as longtime journalist, reporter John Stossel. One of the most famous videos I've ever seen when it comes to a reporter interviewing an athlete or so-called athlete was John Stossel interviewing a WWF wrestler back in the day. And we're going to play the audio tomorrow before we have him on. And Stossel basically says, hey, just be honest with me. Isn't wrestling fake? And this wrestler socks him in the face, and it was real. He's like, what do you think about fake now? And he runs away, and I think he got arrested for assault. It's actually a really funny video. I got to ask Stossel about that tomorrow. Legendary. It happened 30 years ago. So that'll be fun. John Stossel joining us on the show tomorrow. So this is, I guess you could call it the tale of two OJs. Let me explain. O.J. Simpson in one case, and then Olivia Jade. Olivia Jade is the daughter of Lori Loughlin, the disgraced mother who, and she wasn't the only one, by the way, who tried to buy her child into USC. And this Olivia Jade, she's like another Paris Hilton. She's a rich, spoiled brat who's never accomplished anything in her life. She does these stupid YouTube videos, and she's been silent during this whole scandal, so to speak. I wish she would continue to be silent, but she has this new YouTube video that came out. I guess she hasn't had one in months. This girl just makes me sick. Anyway, this is Olivia Jade in her own words.
Hi, everybody. It's Olivia Jade. Welcome.
Hi, everybody.
Back to my YouTube channel. Obviously, I've been gone for a really long time. And as much as I wish I could talk about all of this, it's really hard for me to say this just because I know that it's something that needs to be addressed. It's just, unfortunately, which is also why I didn't know exactly when I should come back to YouTube. But the reason for that is just because I'm legally not allowed to speak on anything going on right now. A part of me is should I come back to YouTube right now? Because it's been so long and I actually really, really miss it.
She has a lot of life
filming. I feel
questions.
like a huge part of me is just not the same because
All right,
this is
that's it.
something
I
that
can't take this
Just-
anymore.
just let her make a decision,
I'm going to
Brian.
slip my wrist. I can't take this anymore. Who's watching this crap?
She's very indecisive.
Who is watching the Olivia Jade YouTube channel? Who is watching this crap?
She has a lot of questions as she was walking through the rigid grass.
Hi, everybody.
She's doing
but I also didn't know I debated for
she's doing Brian, she's doing everything but winning right now. She's doing everything else right.
Hi, everybody. Hi, I'm Olivia. I haven't gone on YouTube in a couple months because of this scandal. It's really not a big deal. My mom was just trying to buy me into a university.
She actually didn't sound very Valley Girl there. She sounded, she was, a little meek, very soft-spoken.
She sounds extremely intelligent.
You're making fun of a meek, soft-spoken woman who's trying to make a couple of life decisions.
No, I'm not making fun of You know what I'm making fun of?
The road less traveled, Brian.
No, I'm making fun of a rich.
She's not sure which path to go down.
Okay, I'm making fun of a rich, spoiled brat teeny bopper who is a wannabe Paris Hilton who is never going to accumulate to anything as far as giving back to society. She is a Nimrod. She is a moron. She shouldn't go to college. I would be willing to bet you if her mommy or daddy didn't do the work for her. She probably couldn't even pass a class in college, and she has no business, and I mean no business, attending USC. I would love to know what her real grades were in high school. My question is, are people really watching this garbage? Does somebody actually, wow, I can't wait till Olivia Jade posts a YouTube video. God, I've really missed her videos because they're so informative and they're so entertaining. Like, what does she talk about on her YouTube page? Hi, everybody. So this is the makeup I put on today, and my mom is doing another movie next. Like, what is she talking about on her YouTube page? What person would want to listen to her? What a train wreck.
I would guess that if she did a makeup tutorial on her YouTube page, which is actually very popular these days, if she did that, it would be extremely successful, Brian.
Well, Olivia, please go away. Please go away. You are a detriment to society as far as I'm concerned, and your mother is a moron, and she should be ashamed of herself, and you should be ashamed of yourself. Speaking of USC, let's talk a little OJ. What do you think, JD? Let's go a little OJ route. So OJ is a fantasy football fan, right?
The other OJ.
Yes, the other OJ, OJ Simpson, who, in my personal opinion, is a double murderer and is living the high life in Las Vegas, living in Summerlin, playing golf every day, drinking wine, and losing money on fantasy football. So he tries to give people tips on fantasy football. Maybe he could give people tips on how to commit a double murder and get away with it. But OJ back in the news, back on Twitter. This is OJ in his own words. He hasn't been having a very good fantasy football season as far as I know. Here is OJ Simpson himself talking about the 49ers-Ravens game.
Well, I tell you what, Baltimore Ravens, you just won on the end of the game field goal. Lamar Jackson, you're incredible. I mean, you got 4 games ago, you already got 1,000 yards. But 49ers, you have got nothing to be ashamed of. To lose this game on a second field goal, traveling across country, 49ers, you're my team. You boys are really tough, and you should be ashamed. One other thing, coach down there in Miami, after what management did, trading away everybody, for you to be this competitive right now, you've done a hell of a job, coach. You guys, you players should be proud of yourself, playing as hard and as well as you've been playing. I'm just saying, take care. I hope the afternoon games are as good as these morning games. Take care.
By the way, why does OJ always say that? I'm just saying, take care. Absolutely. What if he said that?
What he's trying to say is, take what I have to say as a grain of salt.
What if he said that in the courtroom?
But this is my opinion.
What if he said that in the courtroom 25 years ago? Mr. Simpson, what do you like to plead? I'm just saying, not guilty. I'm just saying. Like, what if he said that in the courtroom?
He actually might have. It's possible.
I'm just saying, Johnny Cochran and Robert Shapiro got me off with double murder. I'm just saying.
I really want to handicap a couple of games with OJ on air. Really bad. I think it'd be fun.
Yeah, well, if I asked him questions, it probably wouldn't just be about football. I'd probably get into some other things also.
I'm a big enough guy that I don't think he would try to attack me. And if he did, I feel like I could handle myself pretty well.
OJ, if you were this is the question. OJ, if you were so innocent and had nothing to do with the murders of your ex-wife and Ronald Goldman, can you please explain to me why you were in a white Ford Bronco in a police chase with a gun? Can you please explain to me? Or you were just so broken up and so hurt that your ex-wife lost her life? The same ex-wife that you beat up.
I think he was worried about losing some sponsors.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what it was.
Yeah, and he didn't want
he was afraid he wasn't going to be a Naked Gun 33.
He was worried about that. Him and Leslie had a good relationship. He was promised, I think, 9 for the 8th one. And
by the way, OJ also left a suicide note, if you remember back in the day. Okay, this is a man who is Mr. Narcissist, who would, by the way, would never commit suicide. He would never take his own life. He thinks too highly of himself. He is a psychopath, a complete and utter psychopath. And I hope he loses every fantasy football season from here on out. And, look, there's no obvious. I'm stating the obvious here. He would not have gone to jail for that Palace Station thing if not for what happened many years ago. There's no doubt that Metro Police did everything they could to put him behind bars, and they did a very good job of doing that, too. And I don't feel sorry for OJ at all. But with that being said, the fact that it bothers me. I can't imagine, how others feel that were, like the Goldmans and, Nicole Simpson's family, knowing that not only is he out of jail now, but he's living the good life in Las Vegas, living in Summerlin, playing golf every day. He's playing more golf than Donald Trump. I don't think it cost OJ $115 million, but OJ's actually playing golf every day living the good life, going to these wine bars and doing these stupid fantasy football videos. I'm not going to lie to you. That bothers me because I do believe he killed those two people. I do believe he committed double murder. And by the way, he was convicted, or I should say he was found guilty in the civil suit. Very difficult to be found guilty in a civil suit responsible for the deaths of two people and yet be found not guilty in the criminal case. I think we could all put 2 and 2 together there. This is a man who is a psychopath who I don't find to be extremely intelligent, and he's a murderer. He's an animal, as far as I'm concerned. Sadly, he lives in our community, and he calls Las Vegas his home. It's funny, right? When you're on probation and you want to stay out of trouble, I would usually recommend that Las Vegas might not be the best place to live. It is a 24/7 lifestyle with alcohol and gambling and everything else. I really hope O.J. Simpson screws up again. And I hope he doesn't hurt anybody in the process. I hope he only hurts himself. But I hope that guy screws up, whether it's a DUI or he gets caught with drugs or something. I really hope he breaks the law without hurting somebody else, only himself. I really hope he breaks the law. I hope he violates his probation, and I hope he dies in prison. I really do, because he does not deserve to be out in public. He does not deserve to be on the streets. I've always felt that way about this guy, and it is amazing to me that there are still people out there that think he is this great, innocent man. Yes, there are people out there that think that. And, in our justice system, there's no question that minorities are treated differently. But in this specific case, if you are a minority but you have a lot of money, you have a much better chance of getting out of it scot-free. And O.J. Simpson had a lot of money. He, at the time, was one of the most recognizable people on the planet. And if he was not O.J. Simpson, if that was just a regular, everyday, ordinary person, he would be in jail probably for 30 or 40 years, maybe longer. But money can buy you a way out of jail. It's the way our justice system works. If you have the best attorneys and you have, people on your side that are very good at what they do and you're paying a lot of money to do it and you also happen to be a celebrity, all you need is some dumb jurors.
And apparently it can cure HIV.
Well, apparently. But you could, with magic. But if you're a one dumb juror, that's all it takes. All right, guys, we're going to take a 21-hour break. We will see you bright and early tomorrow morning. Our guests tomorrow include attorney Michael Avenatti. He will be joining us tomorrow. Longtime reporter John Stossel will be joining us on the air tomorrow as well. See what he thinks about this political divide we have in this country right now. That and much, much more. And keep in mind that our Vegas Take page YouTube is streaming live. If you missed anything, check it out on YouTube. Have a great day, everybody.